Mm. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just got back from the evening meditation that we do in person here in Topanga, or in today, Saturdays, it's 4 o'clock in Waddles Gardens, which is a park, a beautiful park in Hollywood. And and it's so nice to do these live activations, to do the live meditations. Welcome on board, whoever is on here, whoever is with us today. I am grateful you're here. I am grateful that I am here, that I'm alive, that I get to walk this earth, that I get to be upright, at least for the time being, right? That's all we really know, is that we are still alive. And, when we are not alive, we move into the light. We move into a higher frequency of existence, and our physical body is no more um, animated or alive, but your energy will still be. You, as a human energy being, or actually not human anymore, you're going to be part of the energy field of the universe. At the moment, you and I are both, I'm going to drum a little bit for us. We are both physical manifestations of the sea of energy that we are living in. Your atoms in your body, your molecules in your body, the cells in your body are all are all a manifestation of your energy, of who you are, who you feel you are. And of course, our mind wants to often tell us that it's not a beautiful experience. Your mind often wants to say, my God, this is wrong, that is wrong. If those people over there would only act better, if these only act in accordance to how I look at, we look at an upbringing, we look at our life. I wish I hadn't had that happen, or I wish my upbringing was different. I wish that life would have looked different. And of course, there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of compassion here. And I know that we live through very hard times, that we go through very, very difficult experiences. I have done it myself. Very, very difficult. And when we look at it from a place of compassion, from a place of love, deeper understanding, we can see that the suffering that we went through at the time was not optimal. At the time was not easy. At the time, we had no choice but to go through it. But today, now, you have a choice of how to view your life, how to view what happened, and how to view where you are right now. When you understand deeply that you are here and now in every moment, that what has shaped us, our experiences, our traumas, that are very real, the trauma can be very, very real. But when you see that nowadays you have a choice how to view that trauma, how to express it today. And when we, as in like, um, somebody that I'm related to, my brother and I, we grew up in the very same family, and of course he's an amazing person. He does very, very much and very beautiful stuff. But earlier on, we hadn't really dealt with our traumas in similar ways. We had dealt with it differently. And I have been on a healing path for quite a lot of years, and attempted and also did deal with a lot of the childhood trauma, while in some cases my brother hadn't. And of course, he, we all do the best we can with what we got. But at some points, he was still in suffering from what our upbringing had done, what had happened, and while I had been treating it. And I could notice that there was a big difference in how we were living our lives. And of course, he does a lot of beautiful things. And financially, he's extremely stable. And then financially, I haven't been until recently. I have not been. And when I look at how, you know, life has, when we have experiences as children, we have hard times as children. And then we are 40 years later, if we're still suffering from it, which to a certain degree we all are, but if we're still really truly going, yeah, if our parents hadn't done this and that, if that hadn't happened, if I'm still kind of blaming my current circumstances on a very traumatic experience 40 years ago, we are still reliving the past. We are still not truly present here and now. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with it, because we all deal with our trauma the way we can. We cope with it the best we can. But as we go deeper into ourselves and we want to take back our power, if you want to take back your life power, you come back home. And when you come back home, we can release the things that belong to the past. And of course, I couldn't, and maybe you can, but I can't just snap my fingers and have the trauma go away. And it's not just thinking that, okay, I'm present here and now, and that's how I get rid of the trauma. No. Healing of the trauma is breathing deeply into it. It's to feel the feelings that are stuck. It's to sit with your pain body, with the parts of yourself that are still traumatized. You sit with them and you breathe deeply into them. And as you do, you can grow. You can grow in understanding, you grow in inner standing, and you actually create a new reality for yourself. And suddenly we can see the past in a different light as well. Now, that's briefly on trauma, briefly on energy, right? And now I want to go into another part of vibration. And when we speak about vibration, even scientifically, there's a whole group of people in our world right now that are leaning on science heavily, and many people are saying, I believe in science, I follow the science. And if we do follow the science, we will go much deeper than what the public narrative is letting us nowadays. But when we look at vibration, and the science does tell us that everything in existence that has mass is in vibration. That every atom and molecule in your body, like every atom, vibrates. It spins very fast and vibrates. That is a vibrational existence, right? As you heal your inner trauma, and if you have experiences of moving your awareness to a higher plane, your vibration changes. And you become lighter, both physically and emotionally and spiritually. And as you become lighter, you vibrate lighter, you're not as stubborn anymore. You're not as heavy. You're not as angry. You're not as dense. As your energy shifts and gets lighter because you release the trauma, the ideas of the mind are hanging on to trauma often. And as we release the trauma out of the body, we also can release the mind that's keeping the story alive. And as we do, we become much more aware of what's going on inside of us. And then as you sit in your higher vibration, you also become aware of what's going on out there. And we can start to feel when something is high vibrational or low vibrational. When something rings true or if it rings untrue. And if it rings false to you, if it rings untrue to you, don't follow, don't listen. If it rings true to you, by all means, listen. Whatever it might be that you feel, whatever path you feel like you want to walk down. So, regardless of what you believe in when it comes to the jab or the non-jab, you follow what you believe is the highest vibrational path for you. Personally, I know exactly where I stand on it. I know exactly how I feel about it. And I know that I am grateful that I didn't do any of the jabbing. But I'm not saying that there's anything wrong if you did that. Because seriously, you did what you thought was right in the moment. Now, when we look at how it's being communicated in our world, how the jab stuff is being communicated, we can kind of tell that something is not right, ringing right, that something is not ringing completely true. When we're not allowed to question things, when we're not allowed to be able to express it here on air, something's definitely not truthful. Because, like they say, right, you don't have to hide a truth. The truth doesn't mind being questioned because the truth stands on very strong, solid feet, solid footing, while a lie can't stand being questioned. Therefore, we got censorship. Therefore, we got quieting, silencing of people. We got cancel culture like crazy. And unfortunately, the cancel culture, it's almost like it's been planted in our world. Almost like, we're going to go into some conspiracy stuff around here. I don't really want to, like, I'm not into, you know, going too far down the rabbit hole, but maybe some people feel like it is way far down the rabbit hole. But I feel like we are in a space of programming. We're in a space of, being divided, that there's a lot of what we believe to be awoke, and not some parts of it, of course, being woke around racial discrimination, around a lot of different disparities. These is, of course, healthy to know that we are deep inside are the exact same people. We may have different lineages, we may have different inheritages, but we are the same. We are, yeah, absolutely the same. And to believe we're not is to believe a fallacy. To not understand that we have walked this life, this earth, many times before, in many different shapes. We have walked in different genders, in different parts of the world, different races, if you want to call it that, in many different colors of the skin, in many different genders, or the genders that are in existence. We have been both sides in previous lifetimes. We've also been different animals in previous lifetimes, because the energy of the world, it expresses itself through life. You and I are an expression of that life, desire for more life. And as you look, and if you really, really look at it, when the physical body dies, we return to the energy field. And then we come back in whatever vibration we had accessed when we passed. So if you have access to high vibration in your system now in this lifetime, you most likely don't have to even come back. And if you haven't been able to access a very high vibration, if you're still suffering in a heavy level, you may have to come back another time, another go, and learn some of the lessons we didn't learn this time. And who knows, we might all have to come back. We'll see. The idea that everything in existence has a vibration is that the pot right here, and the plant right there, and the wall behind me has a vibration. And in that, because the atoms are moving, and so does the rocks. The rocks have a vibration because they're made up of matter. Now, if I look at this, is a piece of obsidian. It came from my spiritual hometown, Mammoth Lakes in California. It is a beautiful part of life. This has been a part of a big mountain. This has been a part of a big piece of rock. And then it slowly breaks down to smaller pieces. But the process takes maybe millions, at least millions, maybe billions of years. If this rock is alive, I have no idea, because my lifetime is only 80 years. My lifespan isn't long enough to understand if this rock is speaking, and what it's saying might be expressed in a very different way than human language. Most of us feel and think that if you don't speak, you're not intelligent. If you don't know human language, you're not intelligent. When you say that, you're not intelligent. When you say that, you're not accessing your higher frequencies. You're not accessing your deeper understanding of the world. The deeper understanding of the world is that life is speaking through everything. It's speaking vibrationally through the rocks, through the birds, through the trees, through the oceans, through the lakes, through the mountains. It's speaking to us, but we are not able to hear it because we are so stuck that it's only human language that we will understand. So who knows how much alien life forms have been trying to communicate to us in different ways. But because when we sent out the probe into the space, we had symbols and we had language, thinking that that's what aliens will understand. And who knows, maybe they will. But maybe they speak in thought forms. Maybe they speak in vibrations. We speak in vibrations. My words are vibrations coming out. They're formed in here, or maybe in my soul, coming out through my body. My vocal cords create the vibration of whatever I'm expressing, comes out through the ether, and it hits your ears, and you interpret it. Those are not necessarily words. Those are vibrations. Just like the whale song. It sounds to us that it's just singing. Who knows what they actually are saying? Or when the ducks are quacking, or when the dogs are barking, or when the birds are singing. We only hear the vibration of it, but because we don't understand their language, we think they're not intelligent. We think they're not speaking. We fail to recognize that all forms of life is intelligent, that all forms of life is an expression of life itself, and that we are just a part of that expression. We're not the end all. Yes, we have been giving a higher understanding, deeper understanding, but we're not really accessing it. If you look at the matrix, if you look at our society, we're not accessing any deeper understanding. We think AI is intelligent. We think that going in that direction is the right answer, and it's part of it, just like the internet is part of it. But the internet is just a physical manifestation of our spiritual energetic connection. We're already spiritually connected. We're already mentally, telepathically connected to everything. But we don't see it, we don't understand it, because we are so convinced that we are separate from the whole. Because we're in our body, we think that, the totality of everything that exists isn't, that's not connected. That it's all, one man for himself, each man for himself, the strongest will survive, and none of that is the absolute truth, right? It's true on certain vibrational levels. If you live in that frequency of your life, yeah, it's true for you. You make it true. But once you move deeper, the next frequency where you understand we're manifesting our own reality, we're manifesting what's coming to us. That we somewhere agreed to this lifetime before we came in here. That we somewhere agreed to the lessons that are being taught to us. And yes, it can be very painful. And yes, it can be very hard. But that's the agreement we took when we went in here. When we came down to Earth this time, we made the agreement. Super difficult at times, but still very true. Yeah. As we gain higher understanding, we see the beauty of our experiences. We see the beauty in the world. And as we get to know the love in our hearts and in our root chakra and our sacral chakra, we become familiar with our own pain. We're not afraid of it anymore. It's a part of life. It's a part of us. Because we can sit in the beauty, we can also sit in the pain. And then we start seeing it in all of life. We start seeing it everywhere. And at least to me, that's a beautiful part of this passage. Now, another, this is my cacao. It's beautiful. When we understand deeper levels of our reality and deeper levels of our own trauma and your own trauma, you can also start to see what's going on with the world right now. We can see that there is a lot of manipulation going on. We can see that the propaganda machinery is super powerful at the moment. It's trying to get all our attention all the time. And that it's trying to separate us as much as it possibly can. So we stay in a state of division. So that we stay, I'm fighting for this. I'm fighting for these people, and those people are the bad ones. And I'm fighting for the rights. I'm fighting for those rights. And you're wrong because you're keeping these rights down. And unfortunately, it becomes a division on all levels. This one group over here feels like their issue is the most important. This group over here feels, no, my issue is much more important. And this group over here feels like, no, oh, this is more important. And what we don't see is that leads to more separation, that we're not gaining power, that we're not getting stronger. And if you want to step into your power, you see the unity behind everything. You see the oneness in everything. And when we do, we also see the fallacy, the belief that money makes us like that we have more power. On one level, yes, absolutely. You feel more strong, more powerful, more happy in yourself. But money doesn't give us any rights to step over other people's rights, right? Money doesn't give you any kind of true happiness. That happiness comes from inside of you. And if you can, maybe you're a person who likes money and who can hoard it. Maybe you've done that. Did that really truly give you more happiness? And when we look at many people with a lot of money, we also realize that they're not that happy. That they're still very much stuck in anger, negativity, what we call ego. So even though it can help us to feel safer, but it's not until we're safe inside that the things come in to help assist that. Now, the truckers have done a beautiful thing in Canada. They're doing a beautiful thing. They're gaining traction, they're gaining attention from the world media. They are putting a mark on the world. Many countries in Europe have now let go of all restrictions. No masks, no nothing. And to me, that's beautiful. To me, that's absolutely the direction we have to work towards. The lockdown, the mandates, and the forced jabbing. In my world, it's terrible. From my perspective, we don't force people to inject things in their body they do not want. If you're for that, now I'm going to go out on a very controversial limb here, but if you're for mandates and to inject somebody that don't want to be injected because they don't trust it, how can you also be for the freedom of abortion? If you want to tell other people what to do with their body, how can you at the same time stand up and say, but I don't tell me what to do with my body? There's a fallacy. And I know this is very controversial, and I don't mean to rub everybody the wrong way. It's not what I mean to do. I mean to question things. I mean to bring up thoughts that are actually real if we call each other out on it. If we say, well, so you want to inject me, but if I say I'd like you not to have to take away this unborn life in your body, you'd say, don't tell me what to do with my body. To me, there's a fallacy right there. There's a double standard that is pretty deep. And I do believe that the narrative, the public narrative in the media, has an agenda, and that agenda is to keep us separate. That the agenda in the public media and the official narrative of things is to keep everybody afraid of each other, angry with each other, and feed the negativity. Because as long as we sit there, and now we're back to vibration, as long as we sit in the negative vibration and judgment of everybody, just like I kind of almost judge people right now, just like before, right? When I talked about what I just talked about, it's a little judgment in that, and I apologize for that. That's why I know it triggers us. But we can also see how that's lower frequency vibration. When we sit in our negativity and our anger, those people, we're sitting in a lower frequency. When we're sitting in that lower frequency, we are easily manipulated and easily controlled. When you sit in your higher frequency, when you realize that freedom is all you have, that freedom is what you are, that you are life, and life itself can't be stopped. Life itself is going to keep going. Just like they say you can't stop an idea of freedom. Life itself, the energy of life, you can't stop. No matter how much you want to box it in, no matter how much your governments want to control life itself, you can't box it in. And because I come from a small country in Northern Europe, from Sweden, and I know that in that country, the government was able to box people in pretty hard. Not everybody, but many people live within the box really hard. I see the suffering that comes from that. I see the anger, the negativity, the heaviness that comes from when we're stuck in the box. And I've lived many years here in California, and I can see, I mean, even here, they're trying to do the same as in Sweden. But I can see that there's a huge difference in vibration. There's a huge difference in freedom of thought. And I can also see that sometimes that goes away when people don't remember and understand the deepest level of spiritual freedom that we can reach. So if you ever wonder why I'm, not for the mandates, it's because I believe in true spiritual freedom. I believe in true choice. You have a choice. And that's how life is in reality, deeper reality. Maybe not in the human construct, but the human construct is separate. It's not part of real reality. It's not part of nature reality. The human construct is what the ego is trying to create to keep everybody in check so that everybody will feel safe. Because if everybody's in check, nobody can be threatened by anything, and suddenly we think we feel safe. But it's just a made up box, what you could refer to as the matrix. So that was our rabbit hole for the day. I hope you enjoyed this live. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. Share it if you feel like it. And I wish you a beautiful, beautiful, lovely, amazing day in your healing process. Namaste and aho.